Hey y'all, it's 3BW, Sisters in Love and Strength.
I'm Christina, the youngest sister here to make you laugh.
I'm Sherry, the outspoken, no nonsense nurse and middle sister.
And I'm Lisa, the oldest sister ready to see what happens next. Every day we navigate busy families, husbands, friends, and exes. We've experienced it all, y'all, and we want to share our lessons learned with you.
Our motto is hindsight is 2020, and we're here to provide our viewpoints on what happened, where we went wrong, and how we can learn from it.
Join us as we share our stories, laugh at our mistakes, and learn together. We want to hear from you too.
What's up?
Hi, ladies.
Hello, hello, hello.
How are
Hey.
we today?
Good. I'm doing great. No echo today. Echo.
Anything new going on with you, ladies?
No, nothing new is a good thing.
Well, I have one new thing.
Uh-oh.
My child is graduating from high school.
Yay!
And then I have one more left. Hallelujah.
Yeah, I think you have one that graduates every year, don't you?
Oh, wow.
At least you'll get, what, a 2-year break?
Christina, you are such a hater.
Not
But
a hater.
yeah, she's only in the 9th grade. She'll be going to the 10th grade. So yes, I will have a 2-year break.
Wow.
Hey, can you hear Christina? I can't hear her.
I can hear her. Say something again, Christina.
Hello.
I hear her just fine.
You don't hear all this.
I don't hear
sexiness.
her.
Wow.
Oh, well. Okay.
Really?
Seriously, I don't hear you.
But you're answering me.
Because I don't know. Maybe because I'm sitting right here beside you.
That's weird.
So anyways, yes, he's graduating. So I'm glad about that. So let's talk about anybody else have anything else to talk about before we move on?
You said that he's graduating. Can we talk about it?
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
guess
what plans does he have?
Oh, yeah. So let's talk about that. So, my child did not really care. He already made up his mind where he was going. So everything he did, it was just to appease me. So he applied to, what did he apply to?
KSU?
KSU, University of West Georgia,
Georgia State?
Mercer. He didn't do that one. He did Mercer and Chattahoochee. And he got accepted to all of them. But you know the one he's going to go to?
KSU.
Yep, the same one he was going to go to before I made him apply to all the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to KSU. Didn't matter.
At least he'll be home, and he'll be able to stay home. You won't have to, pay for him staying on campus.
She
That's
wasn't
true.
worried about him not being home. He don't leave the house. He won't leave the house until he build his house, and then he'll stay there. And then he won't leave there until he gets married and they build their house, and then he'll stay there. He does not leave anywhere. He doesn't go far.
No. But he is definitely going to college, so that's good.
And he's following in your footsteps, right?
Yeah, he says he's going to be a nurse, so we'll see. We'll see what happens once he gets in there.
Yeah, maybe he'll go in a different direction. Maybe I'm more focused on I don't know what to tell you, Lisa. She is not hearing me. I don't know what's going on. That's really weird. Lisa. Well,
Why she just shaking her head? No.
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh.
I mean, like, how clearly can you hear her? Because I don't hear her at all.
But even when she speaks, I see her.
Okay.
I see everything moving.
Long as it's not an episode with just you and I talking.
That would be really weird. But now I'm really loud.
Yeah, I'm sorry I did that. Yeah, so
I can't. Now I'm really low. Girl, what is going on? Yeah, I can't. Like, you got to put me back up a little bit.
did I put? Oh, that might be me. Did I put you back?
There
up?
you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
My bad.
I'm sure
learning.
it's something that Sherry's doing, Lisa.
I'm learning.
Okay.
But I was saying that maybe he'll focus something more like maybe a respiratory nurse or an anesthesia nurse.
Well, I tried to get him to go to CRNA school, so we'll see. We'll see what London does, but
Yay, London.
Or he's definitely going to be, or a nurse practitioner. He's definitely going to do something like that. He's not going to be just a regular nurse.
I
Yeah.
can see
All right.
him as a nurse and just really nonchalant about every patient
Right.
that
Oh
comes
my
in.
gosh, he'll probably have a bedside manner like his.
Like, man, I
You know
told
what?
you
Don't
it's
start.
wrong. You either follow my directions or not. It's on you.
Right. Like London doesn't change his facial expressions. So you don't really know how he's really feeling. He just talks.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, are you playing? Are you serious? Are you happy, sad? What's going on in there, London? You know?
Yeah, you just don't know with him.
And we can imagine him talking to his patients. You need to take this once a day.
No, which is why it's strange that he's going to be a nurse because he just doesn't have that personality for a nurse.
Yeah.
Or to deal with public
Mm-hmm.
people in
Yeah.
public.
People
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. Because believe you me, I don't know. I try to talk him into all kinds of stuff, and he's just sticking to where he's sticking to.
Mhm.
So, all right. Well, moving right along, we are going to go ahead and start with our quote of the day. This quote is from Maya Angelou. It is, "We may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated."
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love
I
it,
like
love
that
it, love
one.
it, love it, love it, love it.
I
Oh,
forgot to do my little clap for my quote of the day.
Yeah, because you probably don't know which button
You
it
know, I
is.
don't. Okay, so from now on, before I start my quote, I will definitely do that. Yay!
Okay.
So, anyways, yes, Maya Angelou, I was just reading about her the other day, and she is just so amazing.
yes.
It is so crazy that when she was younger, she did not talk, she didn't
Yep.
speak. And then one day when she decided to speak, like she has so much to say.
Mm.
So, like, when you say one day, I mean, like, how old was she when she decided to speak?
I don't know, but she was older.
I don't think she just decided. I think she was traumatized, right?
Yeah, I can't, I didn't really,
I think so.
I don't remember. I didn't dive into it, but it's just so crazy to me that like when she finally did speak, like she had poems, she had so much that she said to the world, and she's
And they were so powerful.
yeah, that's
Like
what I
you
mean.
can relate to everything, all her poems. I mean, they study them
Yeah.
in school.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And she's amazing, amazing, amazing woman.
person. Yep, she sure was.
So, what's wrong, Shanita? Your cell phone's dead?
It is.
Thank goodness.
No,
I'm
no.
just
If
like,
anybody knows me, my cell phone stays on dead.
it does.
It's
It does.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The
It
average
does.
person knows that you need to put your phone on the charger each day.
She's not average.
I don't think Shanita understands that concept.
Well,
Maybe Christina does, but Shanita doesn't.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Christina usually charges it every night.
But
But last
Shanita
night,
is
Shanita
like,
showed up. So
whatever.
she wasn't feeling much. Yeah.
Oh, so we also need to give a shout out to our sound engineer.
Yes, from RHL Solutions.
So not our
Oh
sound
my
engineer.
gosh. Yes, that is
All
Sherry
right,
Morris
so-
on the ones and
Oh, we
twos.
need-
I am
God.
substituting today, and I'm just learning. So you gotta you gotta give me some grace.
Oh, give us some
Okay.
mercy.
But anyways, usually we have Sean in RLH
RHL Solutions.
RHL
Oh my
Solution.
God. Wow. We're just so
Yes.
off today. Forgive us.
I know. But you guys should definitely visit our HL Solutions website, and we'll definitely put that on our website because they are a technical
Company.
so, and they help out with all our needs. Today we did not schedule them in, so
So we're on our own.
yeah, bear with us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm still waiting on that information.
Okay.
So,
Oh.
by the way.
Let's let's delve into the topic.
We don't have a sound effect for that one.
No.
Like, shut the hell up.
Let me see what I can find. Oh, how about this? Crickets.
Oh, yeah.
Crickets.
We don't have his information.
Crickets.
Crickets.
Gosh. Okay.
Okay, so diving right into today's topic. Today we're discussing Sherry.
Oh, give me my soliloquy.
What?
Her soliloquy.
I want to hear about me.
So, Sherry, she is a amazing person.
Phenomenal.
Ooh, phenomenal woman.
Really?
Oh,
Hey,
go
come on.
ahead.
I need to do my introduction.
Sorry.
Okay.
We should have Maya Angelou do it. Okay.
Okay. So, balancing the demands of motherhood and a thriving career with grace and determination. That's our Sherry. As a mother of five, four boys and one girl, she is undoubtedly a devoted mom and always finding humor and joy in the chaos. But, y'all, she's also that drill sergeant. She yells at those kids. Oh my God. Starting her journey into parenthood at the age of 19, she didn't let the responsibilities avert her ambitions. She went on to achieve a bachelor's degree in both law and nursing, proving her incredible capacity to juggle multiple roles. Her story is a testament to her ability to move mountains, whether in the courtroom as a paralegal or a hospital as a nurse or at home. With that being said, let's learn more about Sherry, one third of 3BW.
Yay. Hi, guys. I'm Sherry.
We got sound effects. Don't forget, we got sound effects.
Hey, we want to give you your flowers today and hear from you.
Okay.
So, Sherry,
Yes.
let's start with how many years you were actually in college.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. Share with the world. How many years were you in college?
She don't know.
6.
Was it only 6? Stop lying.
You know, at my age, I just don't remember. I just know that I was a serial student at once.
Yeah.
I was going to college, then I'd stop, then I'd go back, then I'd go back, then I'd stop. But I don't know.
And then you get a degree, and then you'd go back.
Like the paper didn't work. Like, I got to get another one.
And then you got another degree.
Wow.
And then you decided you were going to go back again. But this time you realized,
I was done.
I'm too damn old for this.
Yeah, I stopped. I was tired. I was like, yeah. When I was in the middle of getting my master's, yes. I was like, okay, this is, I'm done. And I even tried to go back. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I even applied. I did everything. I just couldn't go. I couldn't do it.
If I remember correctly, you were actually taking a class and you just stopped. Is that correct?
Yeah, I stopped when I finished. I took about 3 classes. And on that third one, after I was done, I was like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. And I stopped.
So how close did that get you to your master's?
Not at all. I only took like 3 classes.
So how many classes do you need for your master's?
I don't know. It probably was a lot more.
She stopped.
I was done. I was, I don't know. It's just not the same anymore. I'm not motivated anymore. I had enough of schooling.
And was
After
the
2
math
degrees?
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
I was gonna say the same thing. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. After 2 degrees, that's okay.
Yeah, and my certificates. Like I'm a serial student. I went to school forever.
So 2 degrees and certifications.
Yeah.
So let's go back to when you first started school. You went to school for law.
Yeah, everything because when I got out of high school, I just knew I wanted to be a lawyer. I worked for lawyers. First, I went to school and I got a certificate as a legal secretary, and then I went and I worked at the law firm, and that's what I did for like ever. And then one day I decided that hey, I don't want to do this anymore. I got tired of the drama. I had worked at like family law and things like that, and it's a lot of drama. And I was just like, listen, I need a break from all this. So I was trying to figure out what I wanted to be. And at the time, our kids were always in and out the hospital. So I was always going into the hospital because Aiden had an asthma exacerbation, or London. So while I was in school, I was like, or while I was in the hospital, I was like, maybe I should try and see how it is to be a nurse.
So going back to your law
Oh,
career,
wow.
we wanted to,
Yes.
address one at a time. Okay.
My bad.
So coming out of high school, college, high school, you felt like you wanted to be
A lawyer.
Okay. Why?
I don't know. I just always wanted to be a lawyer growing
'Cause
up.
she was a drill sergeant and she had a slick mouth.
You know, when when you're young and you think about what do you want to be when you grow up, it was just a lawyer. I didn't have anything that said, like, I didn't know any lawyers or anything like that. It's just something about law attracted me, and that's what I wanted to do.
Well, what particular, like, as far as law, where were your thoughts as far as what you would like to practice?
So before I knew anything about law, it was like criminal law. I really
Okay.
wanted to do criminal law.
So did you ever work for lawyers
I
that
did.
were criminal
Mhm.
lawyers?
I did.
And what, any memorable moments about
No,
that? Or
and
cases
I do
or
not really.
people?
Everybody, the most that I worked more family law than criminal law, so I have more experience with that. But the criminal law that I did go, like, I went to court and stuff, it's pretty boring.
Not what we see on TMZ or
No.
television.
No, it really, when you watch Nancy Grace and you see how boring it is?
Nancy Grace isn't boring.
When you look at them when they're in court and they're just talking.
Right.
That's it. That's really
Yeah.
basically what you're doing. You're just sitting there watch, like, nobody's getting up, throwing stuff, or, it's just kind of,
Nobody's leaping over counters
Right.
or tables to get to the suspect.
no. It's pretty dry and cut. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but majority of the time it's just smooth sailing and boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do like court. I always enjoy going to court. I really do.
So what was a typical case like for you?
So really, most of the time we did family stuff. So really all you're really doing is getting documents together, sending them over to the other party, getting their documents, having interviews, doing depositions, like, just regular stuff, like just trying to get them divorced or trying to get custody arranged. But the problem is, while you're doing all that, unfortunately, the couples are fighting. So that always spills into the law office. Either he's not bringing the kids back or she's not letting the kids go. So they're calling the attorney's office, they're calling the police, and you got to be in there on the phone. Like, it's drama.
Right.
And it happens a lot. And then the attorney is not always there. So you're the one that has to deal with it.
So you're the one that's caught in the middle between two individuals fighting for custody or,
So I got tired of that because, that stuff can be really emotional.
And draining.
Yeah, especially when they're always fighting. Like, they're always calling because there's always an issue. So I just got tired of that. But I worked in a law firm for like the longest time.
So were you, did you find yourself a lot of times on the other end of that call, or more so just documenting what's going on for the lawyer and someone else was at the other end of that phone call?
No, if this was our case, I'm on the phone with this person.
Wow.
And especially if the attorney's not there.
And half the time, like, you
They'll-
tell them what to do, they don't really
Right.
follow
Nope.
directions.
And then if they're in court, like, when they're calling you, they want something like right then and there, right now. But that doesn't always happen. Either they're not there, or you can definitely go through and look at their documents and see what the court has ordered. And that's if you have an order. Because what if we're still in the beginning of the stages and we don't have all that stuff outlined yet?
So let me ask you this. On a average day, what did your job consist of?
Documents, basically, unless you went to court. So on an average day, if I'm going to work, I am just going in there, looking at documents. Their attorney send over discovery, send over depositions, just send over stuff that you need to review to get ready for court. Hopefully, we can go to mediation and resolve it. But if not, then you'll have to go to court and you have to have all your stuff together. You got to make notebooks, all kinds of stuff. You got to get ready to go to court so that you can prove that your client needs blah, 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 blah.
So of the things that you just listed, what part of that was actually your responsibility?
Most of the time, it's getting the documents together,
Okay.
because that's what the paralegal does.
Mm-hmm.
She gets the complaint, the discovery, everything. Or if you get depositions, you go through, you read through them, you look and see what you can use, what you can't use, all that.
So, do you make those decisions, or are you more of a highlighter, and you're the lawyer
Right.
determines what can be used?
It
what
is
can't
definitely
be
the
used?
attorney. You just
Okay.
kind of get it together for them so that it's easier for them to review and decide what they can use and what they can't use.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, what part of your job did you enjoy?
I like going to court. I like law. I do. I like it all. I just think that I would want to do something more like probably like corporate law, which is probably boring.
That's what I was going to
But-
say. I would think that would be boring
Yeah.
compared to
Yeah.
criminal or divorce.
Right. Less drama.
And
Definitely.
boring.
Yeah. But listen, after working in all that drama,
You
want
welcome.
boring.
yeah. Yes. Definitely. Or even entertainment law. That would have been cool.
That would be
too.
fun. That sounds like
Definitely.
that would be fun.
Yeah. And that's boring too because, really then you're looking at contracts and things like that. And contracts are boring. But still, like that's better than the drama of family and even criminal law. You gotta, the stuff that you have to read about or pictures you have to look at. Like, oh my gosh.
So, did you have any? I mean, what about your motivations? As you're going in and you're tired of dealing with the divorce aspect of it, dealing with feuding parties. I mean, what was your motivation?
I mean, that's all that I knew. So when I got tired of it, then I felt like I needed to figure out what else I need to do. You know what I mean? Because when I became, at one point I was thinking I was going to go to law school. I remember I was going to take the LSAT. I was going to do everything. At that time, I was weighing whether I wanted to go to law school or if I wanted to become a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to figure that out because I thought I was going to go ahead and just stay in the law field and just go to law school. But, nursing looked better because it was quicker.
Oh. And nursing was on your mind because of the issues that your children were having with
when
their
I was
asthma.
right, because when I was trying to decide what else I want to do because I was getting tired of the law where I was, I thought about nursing because I was at the hospital all the time.
So, what made you finally decide, okay, this is what I'm going to do?
The program. Well, actually, what happened was I quit my job and I got a job at the hospital, and that determined I was like, okay, if I like this, then I'll go to nursing school. And when I got in the hospital, I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. Now, granted, I was just like a secretary, but
And can you go into more detail?
about what I did.
Yes, as the secretary.
All I did was sit at the desk and help patients. That once they get in their room, move them on the board, do little things, get them water. Sometimes I had to sit, like it just,
Is that kind of like an orderly?
I guess so. I don't know. What is an orderly?
I'm thinking of a candy stripe girl. Remember the candy stripe?
Yeah.
What is that? What do they do? Just
they just do what everybody
What
else
you
didn't
just
do.
said you were
Yeah.
doing?
Then that's what I did. Yeah. That's what I did in the beginning. I worked at Grady and I worked as a legal secretary. And then after that, I said legal secretary. I worked as the unit clerk, the unit secretary. And then after I was there for a little while, I moved into the director's secretary. So at that point, I didn't really mess with the patients or anything anymore. I was just under the unit director and I did stuff for her. Like keep up with time, talk to the nurses to get stuff situated, things like that. And I did that until I went to nursing school.
So an orderly is an orderly, also known as a ward assistant or patient care technician.
Oh, there you go.
Provides non-medical support to patients and staff.
So I did not do that because those kind of people, They like make up the beds, they do all that kind of stuff that the nurses don't do. Like if the patient leaves, they'll clean up the room, make up the bed. I didn't do any of that.
Okay.
All I really did was sit at the desk, answer the phone.
Okay.
And then maybe if I needed, or put a chart together, something like that. If they needed me to sit for a patient, then I would sit. But that was all I did when I was a unit secretary.
Okay.
And then when I moved over to the director's assistant, I didn't do any of that.
What was that like? The director assistant?
It was kind of being like a secretary. You just do whatever she needed me to do.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And that was it.
How was that? Did you like being at
I did. It was fine. I would do schedules, and we had meetings we went to, things like that. It was interesting. But then I went to nursing school after that.
And how difficult was that? I remember you telling me that was like the most difficult thing that you had to do as far as
in my life.
Yeah.
Like nursing school is the hardest thing. Out of all my years of schooling, nothing is like nursing school. Yeah. And then I did an accelerated program, so that made it even worse because, everything was crammed in a short amount of time.
Because you finished it
in 15 months.
Wow.
Yeah. My BSN in 15 months.
So you did it in Tennessee, right? And then you would come home. If I remember correctly, you would come home on weekends and work still at the hospital.
Yes. Like when I had like a big break, like maybe spring break or something like that, I would come home and I would work at the hospital. Yep. But not when I came home for just like the weekends. But if it was like, if I was going to be home for a certain amount of days, then I will go to work.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's when you were a secretary at the hospital.
Yep, I was. I was a director's assistant at that time. And that's when, I will go to work and help out her.
Yeah.
Yep. And then until I graduated from nursing school.
So once you graduated from nursing school, where was your first location that you worked? Wasn't it the hospital that you were the director's assistant?
No.
Oh, okay. Where was that?
She never worked there. Yeah, you never worked at Grady, which is crazy.
I did work at Grady.
Yeah.
Not as a nurse.
Yes, I did.
Oh, dang.
In the ER.
I remember you saying you worked at Grady.
Oh, yeah, because that's where you got attacked. No? Oh.
No.
But that's when those young boys were shot and they came in from Atlanta something. What was it called again?
I think it was Atlantic Station.
Atlantic Station, yes. Yeah. Because I remember you telling me that they came to Grady.
They did.
You saw one of the boys or a couple of them.
Yeah. They did come to our trauma center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened to them?
I don't remember.
I remember
there was just
one passed away, right?
I don't remember. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I remember saying one passed away.
There's a lot of death in my life. I have no idea.
Yeah. How do you deal with that? I mean, well, how did you deal with that in the beginning when you first became a nurse?
I don't ever remember having a hard time with it. But see, in the beginning, I guess like when people did die, most of the time it was, older people. Like, it was kind of okay because not that it was okay, but it was probably their time because, they had lived their lives. The only time that it even really affects me is when it's like younger people. Then I just feel sad for them. But
and I mean, having to see their family.
Yeah.
That's what
isn't that drama?
Would break me.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
You have to be strong because they cry, and then if it's somebody that's unexpected, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It is a lot that you have to, but
I don't think I could do it. I think I'm just so emotional.
Yeah.
Like I cry watching television,
I cry when she tells me stories at work and I'm like, that doesn't affect you. It used to, and I admire that about you, Sherry, because I remember a lot of the stories that you told me and I can still remember them like to this day. And they're just so sad. Like I have to stop thinking about it because it's emotionally draining.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
I think the only thing, and of course, I work in the ER room. So I think if I worked like on the floors or somewhere, it would be a little different. So even when I was a unit secretary, there was death there, because on the floor, everybody didn't always make it. They made it upstairs, but, they always didn't make it. So I'm thinking from then I kind of got used to death. Or they would have, like, I remember one time we had this patient who had he just didn't want to live anymore. So he stopped eating, he stopped doing everything, and he died upstairs, you know, because we couldn't make him eat. That's what he wanted.
Right.
And, you know, you're there. And then I had another patient. He had AIDS and he was dying from a secondary infection. And I liked him. He was really nice. He knew he was dying, of course. And when I was on the floor, this is when I was a secretary, and I would go visit him because I liked him. Over the course of the days, you know, he eventually died and he was ready for it. But, you know, like stuff like that, I guess it made me kind of understand and deal with it better because it doesn't affect me.
Wow.
Yeah. Unless it's a kid or like a young kid.
Right.
Yeah. Or like
Violence.
a 21-year-old. Yeah. And it's always violent. It's always somebody came in and shot him. And like, you know, they make me sad, but just have to keep going.
So what brings you the most joy?
In nursing?
Yeah.
Helping people. I do like helping people. I do like, you know, when people come to the emergency room, they're like, you know, scared. They have issues. They don't know what's going on. And so just being able to be like, hey, listen, it's okay. You don't have anything to worry about until they tell you to worry about it. You know what I mean? Calming them down, helping them understand, telling them what I'm doing, explaining why I'm doing. I like all that.
So with that being said, how do you deal with those difficult patients?
So thankfully, I don't get a lot of difficult patients. But when I do, I try to be nice. I do. But if they continue to be the way that they are, then sometimes I have to be the way that I am.
I recall you telling us about a homeless guy
who hit me with the shoe. Yeah.
Yeah.
He sure did. And he hit me with the shoe because he was mad because I was trying to make him take a shower.
Yeah.
Because he was so funky. Like, it was ridiculous. And he can walk. There was nothing wrong with him. Nothing at all. And he's homeless. So you think he would want to take a shower.
Right. Yeah.
But apparently he didn't.
So what did you do when he hit you with the shoe?
I was like, oh. But I didn't have to do anything because everybody else got him and kicked him out.
Has he been back?
I don't know because I don't work there anymore.
Oh,
but I'm sure he has.
Where was that? At Grady? Was that at Grady?
No. That was at my other job.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. At Grady, nobody ever, in Grady, you don't really have time to do stuff like that. Grady is always a hustle and a bustle.
Fast paced.
Yeah. You don't have time to give people showers or anything like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because it's so busy.
Unless it's somebody that you have to, like, because they have, bugs, things like that. Then
They
have a decontamination room. But you only use that if you have to.
Outside of that, gentlemen, do you have any other patients that have left a lasting impression on you?
Not really. Like, I know one patient, he was mad at me. And then because I was light skinned, he was mad at every light skinned girl.
Oh, what? What do you mean by that?
He was mad at me because, he was a psych patient too. Like they are mentally just, So I did something he didn't like. And then every person that came after me, he was just so disrespectful to him. It's crazy.
Wow.
Mental health is definitely crazy. It is.
Do you feel like we do enough for mental health?
No, I don't think there's enough stuff out there for them. I really don't. I feel bad. Especially kids.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of mental health kids. Like, there really is a lot.
So when you do have patients that are dealing with mental health issues, how is that handled? I mean, are they treated and given information and then pushed out the door?
So 9 times out of 10, it just depends. If the person is really to where they need to be placed in a facility, then they'll place them in a facility. I don't know how that goes after that because, 9 times out of 10, the same patient's going to come back. I don't know how, they go to these different places, but I hear a lot of good and bad things about them.
So your regular patients are usually, like in the emergency room that you consistently see, are usually mental health people? No.
But there are a lot
that keep coming back.
Yeah. Or just not even keep coming back, just come.
So were you ever trained in your nursing program for any type of mental health care?
Oh, yeah. You go through mental health.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You do. You do.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
It's a lot.
It
It's
is.
a lot. You deal with a lot on a daily basis, when it comes to patience and your feelings towards, what's appropriate, what's not.
You know
And
what I was going to say? Sorry, I cut you off. But if I worked on the floor, I probably wouldn't be the way that I am today. So, like, when you get on the floor, you usually have like regular patients where, they just kind of just give them medications, help them get better, and they go home. Working in the ER, like, because I'm an ER nurse, like, I think about everything. When people are driving and I feel like we're about to hit somebody, like everything just in me just gets scared and nervous. Like, or like when my kids do stuff, because I think about what could possibly happen because I've already seen it.
right.
So
I
that,
get it.
and I think that's why I'm even more fearful of heights, because I know if I fall,
What could happen?
and that's what I think about. I automatically go to what could happen if we go off this cliff. Whereas before, I wasn't like that. But see, I've seen lots of car accidents. I've seen all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, you've seen a lot of car accidents and, just kept going.
But I mean, like the ones that make it to my hospital, like after they are taken out of the.
No, let's go back to, you've
Yeah,
seen a lot of car accidents and just keep going.
You're right. I do not stop for accidents. I don't do any of that. You know when I'm a nurse?
When you're at work.
Exactly.
When she clocks in.
Unless it is my family. And then it's only certain family members.
I know, right? Because she told somebody, oh, well, I'm just going to step over you and just keep going. I'm not at work.
Listen. Now.
So if
If
we were
I-
at Target, we
Listen.
were at Target and we're in line and the person behind you passes out, are you just going to look down, pay for your stuff and keep going?
So we're going to keep talking. Shanita, Christina, when Christina was out and she was leaving and this man was on the floor and the family were scared and not doing anything. In that situation, if I was Shanita, I would have went to go help him.
Okay, well, let's give them detail because
I don't know all the details. You're going to
and I'm gonna make it really quick, but it was just me and my family were in a Korean spot getting some fried rice. So we sat down and we ate and we laughed. And we laughed. There was like a 14-year-old girl, another lady, and a heavyset man who it's a shopping center and how they have steps, like 3 steps.
Mm-hmm.
He was laid across the steps, just on his back, laid out, and them two were just crying. Nobody was giving him CPR, nothing.
Yeah.
He was just there.
At that point, the nurse in me
Would have went over there and started
would've.
CPR.
Because at that point I know time is brain.
Right.
So there is no reason. I'm pretty sure they didn't know what to do.
No,
Right.
I didn't.
I would have known what to do, and I would have went over and helped that patient.
Right.
There's just no way that I would have ever walked past that. Never
Right.
ever in my life would I do that.
I couldn't even walk. I am no shape, form trained, and I could not walk away from him.
His
you know
wife,
what I'm saying?
his wife would have been given the breaths while I would have been pumping, and I would have had to teach her what to do so that we could save his life. Because all they were doing is sitting there waiting for the. You can't always wait. Like he needed his heart pumping so that oxygen can get to that brain, so he could still make it.
So let me interrupt you there. So what advice would you give someone if they are out in public and they see someone on the ground pass out and no one is offering assistance? What would you suggest they do at that point?
If you're not, you're talking about
Yeah.
somebody who is not trained at all in healthcare.
Exactly.
Right.
Not
Okay.
trained at all. What
Well,
should they do?
So most of the time, you should call 911.
Which
After
they
that,
did.
Right. And
Yep.
the 911 operator is the one who usually tells you what to do.
Mhm.
They should have been telling her how to do CPR on him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because that is what's important. If you check him and don't feel his pulse, you automatically need to start pumping on him.
So where do they check?
Oh no, Lisa, we can't be doing that. You could check his.
The wrist
Yeah.
or their neck, right?
Well, you better check.
Check
wrist.
the wrist. Okay. And if they don't feel
And
a
if they're
pulse,
not
then-
breathing, CPR is important.
Yeah.
Everybody should learn CPR.
Definitely. But I wouldn't recommend somebody untrained because if something goes wrong, they can really sue people for stepping in.
Right.
Yeah.
But would you sue them if they stepped in when no one else did and now they're alive?
Well,
Well,
people
wait,
are mad.
right,
Like, they're feeling.
Yes.
Would they rather be dead?
But see, that's what you would think. But when people have lost somebody and they're hurt and they need to blame somebody.
Yeah.
And if you stepped in and you didn't do what, and you could have caused maybe some type of problem, but either way, he probably wouldn't have. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
I mean, if people are standing there like, okay, well, this person is obviously in need. I can either step in and do what I can without experience, or turn your back, walk away because I don't want to get sued.
Well, no. What you should do is call 911 because they will tell you through the steps.
In your case, they were waiting on 911, but nobody was there.
Well, actually, when we walked out, I heard the sirens first, and then I looked over. And the only reason why I looked over is because I heard sirens.
Right.
And I saw her, and she had her back to him, trying to protect her child. And I don't think they knew what to do anyways.
Right.
Because she was crying, and she was on the phone.
I don't know why they didn't instruct her on how to do CPR. That to me is baffling.
Because
but
just him laying there with no oxygen going to his brain. I mean,
but see, I don't know how long he had been there. He could have literally just
fallen out.
Yeah, so I don't know. And the ambulance, I moved away because it was pretty close, and I moved away. I couldn't leave. Only thing I knew to do was grab my kids' hands, and we just all three just started praying.
Yeah.
right.
That's all, because that's the only thing I could offer them at that time.
Right. Yeah.
But the ambulance came pretty quick, and they didn't even start right away. Well, no, somebody did come over, but they were moving. They were doing a brush walk, and to me, and he's not even my husband, but to me, I'm like, come on, hurry up. But they're more experienced. They deal with this every day. So me having anxiety and seeing what they're doing, they're probably very controlled. But somebody did eventually go over there and they started pumping and nothing was working. And all of a sudden they brought out this machine. That's why I went to share. It's like, what is this machine? And it was like some contraption.
The one that pumps for them,
yeah,
right?
the Lucas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was over his chest, and they just started doing that, and then they started preparing him to transport. But they were doing that up until the point we walked away after praying, so we don't even know what happened, and it was emotional for the next couple of days.
Yeah, he definitely terrible.
And see his daughter there, and when they pulled up, you hear her yelling, "Save my dad! Save my dad!"
Crazy.
It's a lot.
I don't know. For me, and I understand that you may experience some broken rib.
Oh yeah,
cracked
you
ribs,
will.
Or
I think you should, right?
Definitely.
That's how you know you're doing it right.
Yeah, I'd rather be alive.
Yeah, I agree.
So, and I'm not going to sue anyone for trying. And you know.
Yeah.
It ain't you that's gonna sue him though. It's your family. You gone, girl. You gone.
But yeah, you're right. Like I'm just glad that I hope they got to him in a timely, manner. I don't know how long he was down, or clearly he needed CPR because that's what they did.
So speaking of technology, you said that machine is called a
Lucas.
Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
How has technology changed since you've been in nursing school and you've become a nurse? Do you see any
I'm a technology student. You know what I mean? Like everything was good for me. I have technology. And the nurses before me, I don't know. But for me, we've always had all that stuff. We didn't always have the Lucas.
I was because I've never seen that.
That's something that, I don't know. We didn't always have it, but we do. I've had it a lot of my career.
Do you see any improvements outside of the shortage of nurses? Any improvements in the, at work as far as technology and,
It's all the same. I mean, I don't know.
You've been a nurse for how long now?
8
years. And everything's the same.
Yeah. I don't.
Oh my gosh. Why are they cutting my grass? I'm going to say sorry. No, it is what it is.
Everybody,
wow.
Someone's at the back door cutting grass.
Well, they're blowing off the patio. That's crazy.
Blowing the leaf blowers blowing.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Christina.
Huh? You want me to go out there and yell at them?
No.
I'm just joking.
I mean, when I walked up, I saw somebody walking to the back with, I guess they're cutting the leaves on a tree, possibly?
No, I don't think so.
Does your community pay for that?
No. I wish they would. Where you live?
Okay, so yeah. Well, see, I don't have much of a yard where I live at, so they pay for hours.
Oh yeah,
but, yeah.
I wish they would pay for ours. Hell, they
can. Okay, let's get back so we can. So, anyways, Lisa, as far as technology, I don't know. Like, I'm not one of the nurses that started nursing when everything was on paper, and then we got introduced to all this electronic stuff. I coming in, we had all electronic stuff. The only thing that I've had in the recent was the Lucas. They introduced the Lucas to us, but that's it.
It just seems like with the nursing field that there's always, something better coming out as far as technology. Not the case. Okay, then.
Like what?
I don't know. I'm not a nurse. I'm just saying. It just, feels like, with nursing and,
there's always changes in protocols.
And maybe you see it regularly, whereas we don't, because we're not in that field. So it's new to us, but you guys probably been dealing with it in the background way longer. But I can say one change I noticed. Remember when you guys used to walk into a nursing or a doctor's office or hospital, and the back of them would be all those folders with different colors?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And then
you still see that when you go to the eye doctor.
Yes.
Do you really?
America's best. Yeah.
I have not seen that since the early 90s. And then I started thinking, wow, we have really progressed because now everything's digital.
Electronic. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Everything's
I was like, where are them folders?
Yeah. They don't have them at all.
Yeah, that's crazy. So we've advanced.
Do you have any advice to a aspiring nurse?
Yes, I do. Aspiring nurses.
Yay, London Larry, Lexi.
I think you guys just work hard. You guys will love the career. Just work hard. When you go to nursing school, C's get degrees. Got it? C's get degrees. You just make sure you pass all the important stuff. Pass all the important stuff. And you're going to learn everything in nursing school. Everything. Everything. But when you get out there and you get in wherever job you're going to work, you're going to use the same, 9 times out of 10, you're going to use the same medications, the same everything. So you'll get it. You might not, when you go to nursing school, you learn about every medication. When you get to your job, you're just going to continuously do the same certain medication.
Once you started working straight out of nursing school, how comfortable were you?
You are never comfortable. First of all, taking the NCLEX, you're scared. Okay, you're gonna be scared. I was scared. Hell, I was scared when you take the test. It's an aptitude type test, like not an aptitude, but it's what do you call those tests that like it changes. It reads your answers and then it changes based on your answers. Mm-hmm. So if you answer all these correct, it gets harder. And then it asks you harder questions. Or if you get a whole bunch wrong, then it'll dumb it down and then it'll work you back up.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's like, so that's why you get anywhere from 75 to like 100 and something questions. Mm-hmm. And then the test will just turn off. And you won't know if you passed or you fail.
So if you get like 20, you fail.
Well, I think the most you'll get, the less that you'll get, the least amount that you'll get in a turn off is 75.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. So you could have failed at 50 and it's still going to give you another 25.
Because they do have questions on there that are just like questions for like a different time. Like they're testing you on these questions. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't count. It's just something that they want to, see.
So once you started nursing at your first job.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let me finish. I'm sorry. So, yes. So, it starts at the NCLEX where you're like, oh, my God, you're second-guessing yourself anyway. Mm-hmm. And when your test turns off, you don't know whether you pass it or not. So, then you wait and you find out, oh, you passed it. So, then you go to work. Depending on who your preceptor is, I think it matters. Because if you have a good preceptor, then they'll help you. Mm-hmm. They'll let you be comfortable. Of course, you're going to be uncomfortable with some stuff because you've never done it before. Putting in IVs, that's something that you practice in school, but it isn't enough.
Right.
Putting in Foleys, like everything that we do, you have to practice. And in the beginning, it is nerve-wracking and you're scared whether or not you're going to do it right. Mm-hmm. You don't want to make a mistake, but it'll be okay. Especially if you have a good preceptor. But you will be scared.
Wait. Hold on, me for you that. What's a preceptor?
A person that you are with, that you're going to be with for like maybe 3 or 4 months. Then he or she is going to teach you the nursing process. How you will.
So I guess
what you will do.
That you would shadow.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, so like when you actually get a position.
Exactly. Yeah. Once you're in your nursing job. So, and they, you're going to be with that person for quite some time. And you're going to go from just learning by watching and then doing some things to eventually you're going to do everything yourself, getting ready to come off of orientation.
Have you been a preceptor before?
I have. I've precepted.
Did you like it?
It's okay.
Yeah.
It depends on the person, because you have some nurses that think they just know everything and they're just annoying to be with. But then you have some that really want to learn and really listen and, really take initiative and do things. And those I like working with.
Okay.
So what determines when you're ready to go off on your own?
Really, what happens is your preceptor and you will meet with the person who hired you, your whoever they are, your unit director, whoever it is. You guys will meet and you'll talk about it. And there's documents that you have to fill out, each week to show that you've done this and that and that. And so we'll sit down and we'll talk about it, and I'll be like, yep, I think she's ready to come off. You're not going to feel like you're ready to come off at all. But I'm telling you, when it's time for you to come off, because you'll get it.
Right.
You have people there that's going to help you.
So, okay. So my last question, and if Shanita has any or Christina has any more, you became a traveling nurse.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, I love traveling. That is probably like the best thing ever. I would still do it. But I wouldn't do traveling unless I had at least 2 to 3 years of nursing. Because granted, I'm an ER nurse and I travel to different ERs. And really, any ER in the world, they all do the same thing. Nothing different. The only reason why I suggest you work is so you have that experience. Because you're going to go to some ERs where then people there are just retarded. And you'd be like, what? And if you don't know better, you're going to be just like them. So that's why when I go places, I know what should be done and what shouldn't be done.
Right.
And when they're like this, and this, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
And when you start at these different hospitals, you take if I remember correctly, you take a class within the hospital for about a week or so, and then you move onto the floor. Is that how that works?
No, you mean traveling?
Yes.
Traveling, no. When you travel, like they do give you like assignments like you have to do on the computer, but you only get like a day or maybe 2 days at the most, a shadow with another nurse, and then you're on your own. Okay. Because when you're a travel nurse, you're already expected to know how to do everything.
Right, but not their policies and procedures.
Yeah, but you'll go over that, but it's not anything where I'm going to be sitting in an orientation for.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
It.
Like I might have one day, like I remember when I went to Texas, we had like one day where we did do stuff like for Epic and or the charting system, things like that. But it wasn't anything to where I can say, oh yeah, we had an orientation and blah, blah, blah. They really just get you on the floor and you do what you have to do.
And you're expected to know what that is.
You are. You should. There's many times when you're going to know more than they do. Because they, and depending on where you go, they might not have seen as much as you've seen. So if something comes in new, they're like, wow, what is that? But 9 times out of 10, I already know because I didn't seen it and been through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question. Why is it that there's so many traveling positions in your field?
They always say there's not enough nurses.
It's not because nurses are always striking.
Or they're on strike.
Well, see, the only place that they're on striking is over there on the west side because they have unions, so they can do all that. Like over there. So around here, we don't have unions. We don't have striking around, our areas over here. But over there, like in California and Washington, all them places, they have unions. So, yeah.
So why don't we just curious, do you know why we don't have unions on the East Coast?
No idea.
Because the government shut that down.
Although, like, I guess in Philly or Pennsylvania, they have strikes there too. So I don't know. I don't know what determines why we have unions and don't. That's not something I've ever looked into. But
Pennsylvania is a union state.
Yeah.
It's a Commonwealth state.
So, yeah. So,
Sherry, thank you for sharing. We appreciate you and all that you do.
Oh, wow.
We do. We appreciate you being a nurse.
And we have 2 that are following in your footsteps.
Yeah, definitely Lexi. Congratulations, girl. She got into nursing school. I am so proud of you. But let me tell you, girl, your life is over. You hear me? Over. Your life is over.
Just for a couple of years. Then you'll be able to afford whatever you want to do.
Don't discourage her.
That's true. When you get out, you are going to be happy that you decided to become a nurse. You really will be. And then after that, you need to be a nurse practitioner.
And then a doctor.
You don't have to do that.
But if you want to.
I don't think she wants to be a doctor.
No, because if you want to be a doctor, you can just go right into being a doctor.
Yeah.
But do you, boo?
But you know what? If you do become a nurse practitioner, you can always travel as a nurse. Okay. So if it becomes big, traveling again, and you're a nurse practitioner, you could be like, oh, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to be a nurse and just go and make that money. Because guess what? When you start traveling, you're going to be making what you made as a nurse practitioner. So, FYI.
Keep that in mind, Lex.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever you are listening.
What? Everywhere is what?
I said wherever she is listening to us.
All right. So,
on that note, Christina.
Yes, we would love for all of our listeners to go out to 3BWunfilteredpodcast.com to share your stories with us. Just like we share our stories, we want to hear from you guys. Just go to the bottom of the website and click on that link that says share your story.
all right. And guess what? We are going to be leaving you. But before we leave you, I would like for you guys to go visit us at our webpage. And from our webpage, you can get to our Instagram. You can definitely find us on both of those. And please subscribe on our webpage. Thanks, guys. We will see you next time.
Bye.